Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of the colors by the members of the United States Marine Corps 6th Communication Battalion Color Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome New York Giant legend and Super Bowl champion Howard Cross.
That's pretty cool. Guys, take your seats. I'm glad you all are here tonight. For a second there, I thought I had to sing. But thank God they spared us all from that. How cool, how patriotic. Guys, I don't know if you understand or if you ever grasp or you can see this. This is like one of the few moments in history where you go into a crowded room where people are drinking and having a good time and laughing, and dead silence happens. That's cool. It shows how much we still love our country, how patriotic we are, and how much we appreciate the men and women that the Color Guard represent. Guys, I live in a world of sports where we talk about heroes and warriors and battles and fighting, but we know who the true heroes are in our country, and I really appreciate you showing such respect for these guys. I really appreciate that. I'm happy to be back here again. I was here last year. I was heckling Kevin Danehy. I promise not to do that again tonight. He's a good guy. His family's here. I didn't realize that, so I'm hearing about it a little bit right now. So Kevin, when you have the mic, please be careful and take care of me. We're all here for the same reason, guys. We're here tonight, and I told them don't use acronyms, for the Mental Health Association of New York City. We're here to support the efforts they have in bringing awareness and helping people that have a mental illness. Guys, 1 out of every 4 Americans at some point in the year will have a mental illness. They'll have somebody they'll need to talk to. They might take a medication. They'll have a moment. And believe it or not, especially men, we're always told to be tough. Keep your chin up. It's all right. Don't cry. Don't talk about it. Especially men. In our lives, we're always told to be the guy, be the man, you're gonna be okay. Well, the Mental Health Association of New York City, they're actually helping guys be able to talk about it, and women, and soldiers, and all sorts of people, including kids, be able to talk about it, and it's okay to talk, and it's okay to express, and it's okay to tell somebody that you need a little help sometime. Tonight, now I'm supposed to say this, Kevin, so I'm going to read this verbatim. Now it's my pleasure to introduce someone that has helped the Mental Health Association of New York City put them on the map. He is their MVP, most valuable player. Once you see Kevin, you know he's never played anything. So I prefer to call him a VIP, very important person to the Mental Health Association of New York City. I'd like to introduce my buddy, Kevin Danehy.
Howard, thank you very much. Howard, for those of you who were with us last year, made an impromptu appearance on the stage to lead a very successful auction, following in my heels with a much less successful attempt at auctioneering. So, Howard, thanks for joining us tonight. And last year, again, for those of you who are here, Howard and following Harry Carson last year, have done an incredible job of humanizing mental health and the stigma associated with mental illness. And it's an incredibly challenging, difficult topic for so many people to acknowledge, and virtually every family, every person has some association with it. So when our heroes from the sports field join us and become so personal in their acknowledgement of how hard it is to deal with these issues, it makes it real. And when we have people like Ken Fisher and his family, who do so much for our veterans, for our members of the military and their families, it makes it real. And so to be here tonight and to see people like Howard follow up again and again. He's been in front of the television, in front of reporters this week, to help to bring people in to deal with this incredibly important, widespread, but challenging issue is greatly appreciated. So Howard, thank you. That's as good as it's going to get tonight, Howard. All right. I'd also like to thank our United States Marine Corps Color Guard for their terrific appearance tonight. It's an honor to have you all here, as well as the other members of the military. So guys, thank you. Men and women, thank you very much. The MHA, Mental Health Association of New York City, is able to do the terrific work it does because of events like this and your support, as well as an incredibly committed and dedicated core of people. So I'd like to just take a couple of moments before I turn the podium over to my friend Scott Cutler to thank a few of those people. So I'd ask you to hold your applause before I finish, just thanking the first round of people. First, the dinner chairs, Rick Clark and Bruce Mosler. Just ask you guys to stand for a moment. If I'd ask you to hold your applause, you got to stay standing, guys. So Rick's from Brookfield and fellow board member. Bruce Mosler, global chairman of Cushman & Wakefield, also co-chair of the Intrepid Foundation, along with Ken Fisher. If you guys just stay standing for just another moment. And my co-vice chairs on the dinner committee tonight, we've got Frank Brancini from Emblem Health, Scott Cutler, New York Stock Exchange, and Cynthia Zarinsky from the Sutton Gracie Hospital. If you'd stand, please be recognized, and everybody a round of applause for these terrific, very committed people who really helped us fill the room tonight. Thanks all. Thank you. I'd also like to thank Giselle Stolper, our dynamic CEO and president, and her team. Giselle has been leading the organization for over 20 years. And when she first started, there were two people. It was Giselle and an admin, and they did advocacy. They were losing a couple $100,000 a year. In the time that she's been there leading the organization, I could just a couple more minutes, we'll be quick, let everybody get to dinner. Giselle has changed the nature of the organization, almost 300 employees now, a budget of $25 million that puts it in the top 3% of the not-for-profits in the country, and we touch over 1,200,000 lives a year. So I would just like to take a moment to thank Giselle and her team for all the great work that they do. Okay. Almost done. Last but not least, very not the least at all, I'd like to thank my bride, my best friend and partner. It'll be 22 years on Saturday. We're celebrating, seems our anniversary, and the event comes together. And her co-chair of the event, Diana Gaines. Thank you very much for the terrific work pulling this together. Diana, Sherry, thank you. And then finally, our dedicated board. I'd like to thank our dedicated board for all the great work they do. And without further ado, introduce my friend and vice chair of the board for the New York Stock Exchange, Scott Cutler. Scott.
Thanks, Kevin. It's a real honor to be here tonight. I got involved with the Mental Health Association of New York City a few years ago, where we had a bell ringing at the exchange where I work with Rick Clark at Brookfield and Kevin and Giselle. And when I met them, I was inspired by their commitment and passion to an area that I had spent some time in, putting myself through college. I spent some time working at an inpatient psychiatric hospital. And although I moved on to a very different type of work in financial services, that experience always stayed with me. I feel very privileged to be part of the organization today, and when we decided the focus of this evening's event would be the mental health of our veterans, we really couldn't think of a more important issue to tackle today. I know many of you are aware of the work that the Mental Health Association of New York City does as a whole, but what you may not know is we are also addressing some of the needs of returning veterans. Back in 2009, our Center of Policy for Advocacy and Education established the Veterans Mental Health Coalition here in New York City. And building on our success of the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, MHA was honored recently when the Veterans Administration turned to us to be their partner in helping establish and administer the Veterans Crisis Line. And for those that are not familiar with that, every hour, over 40 people are helped by the Veterans Crisis Line. That's 40 people of every hour, of every day, of every week of the year. And it's amazing to think about the service that this provides to our veterans on a daily basis. There are over 21 million veterans in the United States today, and here is a look at how we help take care of them.
At one point, I just hit a moment when just about everything in my life was going wrong, and I was having financial problems. I was not at all understanding what was happening to me. I was having issues with substance abuse. I had a lot of history with the criminal justice system by that point, and everything seemed like it was just sort of falling apart at once.
There's a reason they call them the invisible wounds of war. You can't see them. You don't know sometimes that you've actually been injured. I struggled for about 3 years after I came back from Iraq. A family member had sort of just said they didn't think I was behaving the same way that I had been before I left. It was really hard to make that first kind of call for help. For the first time in 3 years after I came home, I started to feel as though I was on a path to recovery and wellness.
I found that over the phone, people are much more uninhibited and they will open up to you much more quickly because it is more anonymous. It takes a lot of bravery and courage to reach out for assistance. What's important about our role is that we can encourage the person to keep going and to keep getting the help they need.
Both returning veterans as well as veterans from previous wars face significant behavioral health challenges. Veterans and their families need support in dealing with these emotional issues, but oftentimes their needs aren't met. It's critical that we as a society address these psychological wounds of war that wreak havoc on veterans, families, and communities.
Well, war is traumatic. Very often it's oversimplified in the media, and people don't really realize how traumatic it is to be there on a daily basis. Even if you're not getting shot at all the time, even if you're not getting on convoys all the time, it's a really stressful situation to be in. And so even if you come out without having any injuries, you come out combat adjusted. Veterans need lots of things from the community that sent them to war. We need people to care about us, not just when they see that many of us have died in the news, but when we're walking among you in the streets, and when we apply for a job and you see on our resume that we were in the military, we need you to care that what we did was important.
Veterans really are one of us. They're young people, they're older people, there are family members, they're people that we know. We need to make them feel again like they are part of our families and part of our community.
MHA, over the years, has honed its ability to be there. What's so unique about our workers and their dedication is not just the millions of calls we respond to. It's the fact that they recognize that each family and each individual with whom they work have a unique set of strengths, problems, and needs that they devote their professional careers to help and to support.
Where there is help, there is hope.
Where there is help, there is hope.
Where there's help, there's hope.
Where there's help, there's hope.
Where there's help, there's hope.
Where there is help, there is hope.
Where there is help, there is hope.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. Where there's help, there's hope. Can't imagine feeling hopeless. Can't imagine feeling like I had no one. Can't imagine feeling like there's no one to talk to. It's because I'm married. If I see that in the paper tomorrow, somebody's going to be in trouble. No, all seriousness, guys, people coming back from abroad, fighting to protect our countries and the things we believe in, and coming home and needing someone to talk to, coming home and needing a moment, is probably one of the most important things we could be reaching out for and helping for tonight. Guys, enjoy your dinner as we get started in the second part of our program.